Okay, here we have the 4-2 Practice B worksheet. For number 1, they want us to copy the triangles at the right and then label them so that triangle AMT is congruent to CDN. So we need to make sure that A matches with C, that M matches with D, and that T matches with N. And they want us to also identify all pairs of congruent corresponding angles and sides. So angle A is going to be congruent to angle C, angle M is congruent to angle D, and so on. And then the included sides are also congruent. Looking at the next set, they're telling us that TJM is congruent to PHS. So that sets up the sides that are marked as congruent. So P goes with T, so I'm going to put corresponding marks on those. JM is going to match with HS, so I'm going to put corresponding marks on those. Angle S matches angle M, and angle J matches angle H. So the first step would be to solve the diagram and then use that to fill in the blanks. So SP is 5 centimeters, so TM is congruent to SP, so TM must have a length of 5 centimeters. We got angle P is 73 degrees because it's congruent to T, which is already given as 73 degrees. Angle M is 48 degrees, so we can, by third angles, figure out what the other angle is, and those are going to be congruent. For number 8, there's a side angle side pattern given to us, but also we have those alternate interior angles that throw some other A's into the pattern. So we could do angle side, or we could do angle side angle. And also there's enough there to also do side by side, or side side side. Looking at number 9, we've got 2 equal angular triangles. They're not showing us that the 2 sides are congruent though. So all we can do is with angle is know that one is maybe a scale version of the other. They're the same shape, but they don't have to be congruent because we don't know for sure about the sides being congruent. Looking at number 10, we got that included side, and then we have the 2 right angles, and then we have the XY and YZ labeled as congruent. That sets up side angle side. But also using the hypotenuse, and with that congruent base angle at X and Z, we could use angle side. And also, since it's a right triangle, we could use hypotenuse leg. So there's several ways to get the congruences for those. For these, we want to match these up in order as given by the congruence. So A goes with D, B with E, and C with F. So angle A is going to be 5x plus 2, which lets us know that A is going to be 17 degrees, and 3y's is going to be 42. C is congruent to E, so that means that Y is going to be 14. And all we had to do for this one was find the values of X and Y. Looking at number 12, they tell us that the 2 triangles are congruent to each other. H goes with T, so 51 is equal to 6A minus 31. Add 31 to both sides. 6A's is 82. That's going to give us, is that going to work out? Or 6A's is 50, that's a 3. 6A's is 54, which gives us 9 for A. K goes with S. So what we have to do is use triangle sums to figure out what angle S is, and then we could figure out what B is. So if we stick 9 in for A, we get 54 minus 3, which is 51. 51 and 83 is 134. Subtract 134 from 180, we get 47. So angle S is 47. So that means that since K is congruent to it, 7B minus 10 must be equal to 47. Must be equal to 46, which gives us 7B's is 56, which gives us that B is equal to A. And for 13, we need to prove that ABD is congruent to CDB. We've got alternate interior angles congruent. We've got the opposite sides congruent. And we have DB congruent to itself by reflexive property. So that lets us use SAS to prove that those two triangles are congruent. So first step, we want to get the givens in there. Angle ABD is congruent to CDB, and angle ADB is congruent to CBD. That gives us the two angles. And then they're also telling us that AD is congruent to BC, and that AB is congruent to DC. So they're really giving us way more information than we need to prove these two triangles congruent, because all we really need is just the correct pattern of three of those. So I decided to go with the two angles and then that side congruent to itself by reflexive property, which sets up angle side angle to say that those two triangles are congruent to each other.